Greetings, ladies and gentlemen, back for game number 2 here at the After Hours Gaming League Season 3 in our Week 1 match between Team Twitter and Team Zynga. Starting at the top right-hand side of everyone's very familiar and, well, I suppose favourite map for some people. It sort of depends on how you go. It is Team Zynga's Menace. He is going to be our red Protoss player. His opponent down in the bottom left-hand side as our blue Zerg player playing for Team Twitter. It is Storm. And of course, as we mentioned, it's a popular map. Of course, a lot of people like to play on this map, and a lot of tournaments like to use this one. Very interesting style for opening up here from Menace. He's got the pylon in the middle. Normally, you'd probably see most players go for a style where you've got the pylon at least sort of at one of these sides here, and then the buildings sort of go across from that particular position. Of course, a gateway and a forge, the common sorts of buildings to use there. There's a beautiful picture of what it looks like. That's exactly what it looks like, guys. But as we can see, we've got with the pylon in the middle, that means we're going to have, I think, yep, that's pretty much room for a gateway down the bottom, and then there will be room for a forge up the top. The only issue I sort of have with this is that the pylon is a little bit exposed to the possible threat of banelings, but as we can see, for the moment, it is going to be a 14 pull from Storm, very safe build from him, just making sure that everything is all nice and safe and sound while he's against his Protoss opponent. Menace being extremely menacing. I promise I won't make too many of those puns in this particular cast. Well, I'll do my best. We'll see how it goes. And he is going to go down to the natural, of course, and keep up the harassment by blocking the hatchery. Meanwhile, back at home for him, the Nexus is going to go up first. Pretty, I like the style. I'm personally a person who likes to always Nexus first if possible. He did go in, and I believe he did see that the spawning pool was down at a reasonably quick time, so it is perhaps a little bit risky that he's gone for the Nexus first and then the Forge. Of course, we'll probably see, it looks like he's actually preparing to go for a gateway down at the southern portion of this, so just being a little bit different in the way that he is opening up this particular build. He is, of course, still getting his probes up and running for our Twitter player Storm. He's continuing to drone up as you would expect, the Queen on the way, and with the hatchery now going down, he's going to be able to get that extra production and income going up very, very soon. Now, another reason that particular players like this map is that it can be quite susceptible for the old Immortal Sentry All-In, the build that's got a lot of soul. You do tend to see that from time to time. Of course, you can see if you can lock down some force fields in this area here, it's a fantastic spot for the Protoss player, and they can sort of lock down that natural and sort of either keep units in or keep units out. It's very dependent on how you like to play, but here we go. The Ling's now just trying to run through. Oh, the probe is not on hold position, and that is going to be very, very annoying for our Protoss player for Zynga. Menace is going to be quite upset with himself there, I would think. He's going to have to show off some fantastic micro here. Lings is still keeping out of danger for the most part. They've only taken a couple of shots on those probes, so none of them have gone down just yet. Good point to note is that because of this harassment here, it's kept Menace from putting some of his probes into the gas. There we go, he's just done it now. But the Lings are going to take down this pylon here, so that's going to be quite annoying for Menace. He's going to need to get another one in construction here if he wants to keep up with his production uninterrupted, but a Zealot has come along, and it looks like that should be able to clean up this attack, if not at least keep the Lings from doing too much more damage. They will try and trot through the mineral line there. The probes being pulled off the gas, a little bit unfortunate. As we can see, though, the very cool feature in Heart of the Swarm there is that you can actually see how many of the workers are inside the gas, which makes things a little bit easier. But now, as we can see, no third base is in operation yet for our Zerg player Storm, so it looks like Menace is just coming through to double check what's going on. He needs to see, hey, what's going on here, man? And he actually saw that there were two roaches up there very, very quickly, so it looks like he is going to be able to detect any possible incoming threat. The Lings have somehow made their way down here. I have no idea how these guys are still alive. That is a beautiful micro from Storm to keep that all up and running while he's preparing this, what looks to be a roach rush. It looks like a few of them now just marching their way across the map. Two of the Lings still alive. I don't know what that Zealot's up to. He just wants to have a cigarette break or something like that, because a couple of cannons are now going up and they will be prepared for this upcoming roach assault. But the thing is, there's only 4 here at the moment. It's not going to be too dangerous for Menace. I mean, he's got 4 cannons up, well, about to be 4 cannons up. Also a cybernetics core, which is extremely late. 6:52 for the placement of that cyber core, which is very late, as any Protoss player player will know. In fact, any player in general should know that's a very late timing on that. The Roach is going to try and take some advantage of the area that they can shoot at on this pylon, but unfortunately with these cannons, they're really nicely positioned with that sort of one that's a little bit forward there. It's able to protect the pylon at the front. The Roaches have decided, you know what, in a display of strength, we're going to take down these destructible rocks, and that's just going to be our way of saying, you know what, I've got some damage done. But 15 drones are being powered up right now by Storm, so he's not going to just sit by on his laurels and just pretend that Roach Rush was the only thing he had up his sleeve. He is now switching into the lair as well with those 15 drones popping out. He's now up to a total of 37 drones, so looking quite good from him despite that little bit of an early rush. But a Stargate also in production by Menace, so he's going to be teching his own forces up very soon. Looks like he's also... What's this rally point? I don't know what this rally point is, but he certainly has a lot of Chrono Boost available. It's interesting to see yet again that our Protoss player has not gotten out the Mothership Core. This would be quite handy. Of course, the Roaches cannot shoot up, so there's no way that they'd be able to deal with a Mothership Core throwing down that little bit of damage that she does on top of the Roaches, but still... It's still very surprising that he doesn't have that out. It looks like he'll probably be getting it soon, I would assume. But he is going to be getting a Phoenix out at first. It looks like they're going to just head straight across to the Overlord there. Don't want to let the Zerg player get any more scouting than he has already done. In fact, speaking of which, these Lings still just running through. Storm having an absolute field day spotting what is going on with his opponent. Interestingly, has not seen the Stargate that's just down the bottom there. But now with the Phoenix coming out, taking down the Overlord, I think there is no way that that's not going to be seen. And with more just sort of fantastic scouting going on from both players, Menace has now checked out that the third base is definitely there, so Storm has decided to tech up and go a little bit further with this game. It's not going to be some sort of crazy all-in right at the start, but Storm has done his own tech as well. He's up to Hydras. He does not have the groove spines or the muscular augmentations just yet. Neither does he have speed. This is very late speed. He's just basically not committing to Lings at all. We've got Roaches coming out, a few Hydras also being built right now as well. The Phoenix now coming through. Of course, the Hydras will help out with the Phoenix, but I mean, Phoenix at this stage are extremely fast, and with their the extra, I believe it was the extra damage that they got, or was it range? I can't remember. I've totally forgotten what that patch note said, but 3 Phoenix are now out. They'll be able to do some harassment inside here, having a few pokes at those Overlords there as well, doing a reasonable job, but not really able to get a huge amount of damage done just as of yet. So things are still looking relatively even right now. I really would like to see if Menace is going to go for a third base very soon. He's got a Void Ray coming out to help out with any possible defense. He's doing some harassment inside domain while doing all of that. Looks like this Queen, she's almost dead. Just one more lift up and Menace should be able to get that Queen, but nope, there we go. Runs back inside, takes care of the Queen, and they will escape. Yeah, it looks like they are going to escape. So nicely done by our Protoss player here. Just continuing the harassment, wants to make sure that his Zerg opponent is earning all of those drones that he's powering out right now. The muscular augments are still on the way, and of course Groove Spines, the Groovy Spines, to help out with the Hydra dancing is also on the way too. So things are going into this Roach Hydra style. Of course, if you're from way back in early Wings of Liberty beta, you will know that the Roach Hydra style was something that was extremely popular back in those days until the Protoss Death Ball, well, basically a laser Death Ball of Void Rays and Colossus came about and just started decimating Zergs everywhere. And of course, this particular composition of Roach Hydras just sort of fell apart from that point forward until the advent of not Hydra, Roach Infestor, and then of course later on the Infestor Broodlord combination, which has been causing all sorts of trouble. But these days, as we said in the previous game, PvZ has been evolving quite a bit. You see players grabbing quite a few Void Rays at sort of random stages of the game. I think we did see one Void Ray came out. Where is it? Yeah, there it is. So we've got 2 Void Rays here from Menace. So he's got a very powerful combination here with both of these types of units, the Void Rays and the Immortals, able to do extra damage against Armored, assuming that there are going to be a lot of Roaches on the field. And as I mentioned before, some players do like to go into Ultra-based play now in this particular matchup and some of the others, because of the fact that Ultras do so much damage against pretty much any sort of unit that they can get their big hands on and get those big hugs going. So it will be good to see if we can get to that stage of the game. The 3 Phoenix still out on the map, doing a very good job is Menace there. One of them is getting quite low, so he's going to have to be careful with that guy. May have to send him back for repairs, if only, 2v2 repairs is just Protoss Terran is just in. I'll just point that out right now. Repairing motherships? Are you serious? That's crazy. But back to our game here, of course, we've got our Zynga player here. He's up to his third base, got the double gas coming along there, so he'll be on 6 gas, which is quite a powerful position for our Protoss player there. Storm, meanwhile, has got quite a lot of these roaches out now, and they've got some decent upgrades, 1-1 at the moment, but +2 on their weapons is also on the way, as we can see. The double Evo chamber back inside the main, going to get that cranking. There is still a little bit, yeah, I was going to say, maybe not Mr. Phoenix, who's on 10 health, probably not the best idea, but here we go. It looks like the attack, or at least some sort of attempt at an attack, is on, but looks like it's not really going to get too much damage there. With all of these power units, we've got so many power units here. The Colossus with their 17 damage per swipe, and then of course the Void Rays here with their around about, what is it, 16 per on armored units, so there's quite a lot here that you have to be very careful of, and it looks like Storm is going to continue the harassment here, wants to try and get this damage done at the third base, knows that if a Protoss is sitting on third base, 3 bases, it can be a little bit of a precarious scenario for him. The Roaches, of course, doing some good tanking and damage at the front. The Hydras at the back with 1-1 doing a really nice job as well. Looks like the Nexus will go down. Nicely done by Storm. I kind of didn't expect that. And with some force fields coming out extremely late here, it looks like our some of our Hydras may actually escape, if not coming back and trying to take down those Void Rays before they can head back away. Of course, the Chandeliers of the Sky, extremely vulnerable to the Hydralisk attack. And look at these guys with their speed up. They are just absolutely zipping around. That is a pretty cool thing to see. It's good to see some old kind of strategies come back every now and then, if you know, if they're made to be viable. And you know, as we said, like the same sort of thing for the Void Ray, the Chandelier of the Sky. You kind of sort of mid to late game in basically Protoss versus anything, you hardly ever see Void Rays come out, but of course now with the advent of their change to prismatic alignment, their bonus damage to armored units, and all those kinds of groovy things, they're able to come back and actually be quite useful in the late game. But now, as we can see, speaking of late game, I'm wondering if we are going to reach it there, that fantastic force field set. Perhaps not completely perfect there, but it did lock those units out. And this is one of the reasons why Cloud Kingdom is such a beautiful map for Protoss. You can do these kinds of things where, you know, normally you'd have the hatchery just sitting there, and then you can plonk down some force fields in this area here and basically wall it off and use the hatchery as its own worst enemy, because you can then take it down. More force fields going down here for our Protoss player Menace from Zynga. He's doing a beautiful job of just mowing down all of these units. Drones are being brought to the front line as well. More force fields going down. The 2 Colossus at the back, they do have extended thermal lance, not to mention the +2 on their weapons and +2 on their armor as well. These guys are absolutely tearing things apart. The Stalker's helping out as well. They don't have blink, so we won't see any crazy blink micro, but it looks as if this game is pretty much over. 3 Colossus are now in this battle, and that is going to be it, I would say. Zynga going to be going up 2-1 from the looks of things here. Yeah, and Twitter Storm agrees. He has the GG, taps out for the moment, and we'll go into game number 3 in just a moment and see if our Twitter team is able to come back and perhaps draw this one back from the jaws of defeat, or will Zynga be able to push on and take a 3-0 win in this best of 5 at the After Hours Gaming League Season 3.